MV Motivate, it's Friday. Happy 420, everyone. Today we're going to talk about cannabinoids, cannabis, marijuana, weed, whatever it's called or referred to in the dialect that you've heard it. I'm going to refer to it as cannabis today because that's its proper name. But for purposes of however you've been exposed to it, it's got multiple names. It's a dietary essential. The way we want to start this one off, click that share button right there. And by clicking that share button, you're going to be entered to win a Magical Butter machine. We'll post that winner on Monday. Now let's talk about cannabinoids and cannabis and why it's a dietary essential. First, you have to understand that the body has an immune system. You're familiar with the immune system. The immune system is what fights off disease. Well, the endocannabinoid system is an integral part of your immune system. We have cannabinoid receptors on every cell in our body. And these CB1 and CB2 receptors are floating around and they're looking for cannabinoids. Our body makes two endogenous cannabinoids. Endogenous just means that we produce them naturally on our own. Similar to how we make testosterone and opioids, we also make cannabinoids. Now, 2-AG, anandamide, when we're making these, that's what we call the runner's high. It's in breast milk. It helps develop us. And here's an interesting fact. Without our endocannabinoid system, we would die. The endocannabinoid system is in almost every living animal. So this system exists. These molecules exist. We produce them. And what we've learned now, remember I said that the endocannabinoid system is an integral part of the immune system. Here's something fascinating. Every disease known to mankind interacts with our endocannabinoid system. That's a very important point, and most people don't get that on the first statement. So I'm going to swing the bat again, line up, and hit that to you again. Every disease known to mankind interacts with our endocannabinoid system. This is part of the reason why cannabinoids are a dietary essential. We need to put the right molecules into our body, get them into our bloodstream, and create cellular activity to help fight off things like inflammation, depression, Crohn's disease, autoimmune disorders. It'll help you sleep better. What the challenge is that there's been so much propaganda through the years and misinformation. Now, remember I just mentioned that every disease known to mankind interacts with the endocannabinoid system? Let's follow down this path a little bit and go with why cannabinoids are a dietary essential. Did you know that in every medical school across this country, they don't discuss the endocannabinoid system? Now there's focus on the immune system and biochemistry, but yet we know that the endocannabinoid system interacts with every disease, and we don't train our medical professionals at all. And this is a scary fact. Most users of cannabis in medical states know more about endocannabinoids and the endocannabinoid system and cannabis than the average physician. And I'm not saying that to disparage doctors. It's not their fault that it's not part of the curriculum in academia. This is science. And medicine is supposed to be a very scientific approach. If you look at FDA studies, for example, the way drugs are approved is by passing scientific hurdles that validate the medicine for the ailment. However, cannabinoids are not studied at all. Well, I can't say at all. There is a program in the United States called NIDA out of the University of Mississippi. They grow all of the cannabis for federal studies. There's no unique technology that's applied to these cannabinoids. So the patients are not getting the highest quality of medicine to prove the efficacy of cannabinoids. Cannabinoids on their own are not very bioavailable. We get about 5 to 8% into our bloodstream of what we consume. Now, the standard ways that cannabis is prepared, we have, vapes and joints. You've seen that for years. Everybody's got these vape pens. Some of those have THC or CBD or a blend of different cannabinoids. There's 400 chemicals inside the cannabis plant that have been identified to date. Let's call 100 of those cannabinoids, and then we have other chemical properties, terpenes and terpenoids and all kinds of other great molecules within there. And they all interact in therapy. I can't say all, but some of them have a very therapeutic response in our body. And what happens is, as we're ingesting these, remember it's a dietary essential. I'm not going to discuss too much about inhalation. Inhalation is a quick spike up in bioavailability, and then quickly it's out of your bloodstream. So for medical purposes and as a dietary essential, I personally don't feel that inhalation is the most effective way to treat your body for a long term. When I say eat to treat, what I'm referring to is, instead of trying to treat disease, we eat to treat to prevent disease. This is a new movement, similar to how trans fats were discovered and began to be eliminated from our diets. Now let's start to add things into our diet that are beneficial. We've heard of all these different superfoods through the years. Cannabis is perhaps the world's greatest superfood and the most misunderstood plant on the planet. If this were broccoli and it had the same cannabinoids in it, it would have been eaten for hundreds of years, been studied. If we discovered this in a rainforest today, it'd be the greatest discovery to mankind, and yet we prohibit this. I want to walk you through a little bit of how cannabinoids work. Cannabinoids work in plant form. It starts out as a molecule called CBG, and then through time, as that plant develops, the plant either becomes, well, it can be a blend too, but typically the plant either becomes dominant in THC. Most of the cannabis around the world has become dominant in THC because through the years, that's how it was grown to increase the psychotropic effect. So THC crosses the blood-brain barrier and gives you a psychotropic effect. Now, CBG can also morph and become CBD. Now, CBD is the topic of the day, of the year, of the last couple years. Weeds, the episodes by Sanjay Gupta, they focused a lot on CBD. Now, and I should actually go one step further. So they actually have a carbolic acid group in them. So it's CBGA, and it's THCA, and it's CBDA. That carbolic acid is removed through time or heat. Cannabis in its raw form, if you went and took a high THCA plant, remember that's the one that's supposed to be psychotropic, and you ingested a whole bunch of that, it would be perhaps the world's best juice that you could drink. It's very high in THCA. The THCA does not cross the blood-brain barrier, so you wouldn't have a psychotropic experience, but you would have some incredible medicinal value there. Same with CBD. CBD begins as CBDA. The carbolic acid is still in that group. Through heat or time, the carbolic acid dissipates, and now we have CBD, which has different medicinal properties than CBDA. Now, when we take CBD or THC and we give them extreme exposure to heat, the molecule then converts. So we go CBG, we split off, and it goes THC or CBD, THC or THCA or CBDA, and then they come back into CBN. And CBN is another molecule with medicinal benefits. Those are the four molecules that will give you an education and a platform that will be greater than most people in this country to date. It's important that you start to learn a little bit about cannabis. Now, when we think about ingestion of cannabis, typically this is what we think of. We think of, somebody's cookies from college, or brownies, or chocolate. Cannabis in ingestion comes in all kinds of different forms. So this is a THC tincture that we made, and this is made in the Magical Butter machine. And this tincture here, you just put it in your mouth and you swallow it. And you can also leave it in your mouth and it'll have a different effect. That's one way to do it. You can also make things like soup, sauces, and salad dressings. Now imagine if you were eating a salad, and the salad not only was good for you because the food content, it's broccoli and carrots and lettuce and onions and radishes and celery, and it's got great food in there for your belly, for your intestinal health. But now we combine cannabinoids. Now, if you wanted to have a psychotropic experience, let's consider this to going to a restaurant and we want a break. So mentally we order some beers. We're actually doing damage to our body. Now, when you ingest THC, which is with the carbolic acid removed, remember, so now it's psychotropic, it'll cross the blood-brain barrier. It's going to give you a therapeutic experience. It's also going to give you an uplifting experience. Many people experience extreme happiness. They laugh. They'll sit in the corner and laugh on their own. I don't know how you feel about the subject matter. I think laughter is perhaps the world's greatest medicine. So if we started to focus in on ways to make people laugh and be happy and enjoy life and just be a spirited individual, we would likely be much further ahead than we are with all the antidepressants and Adderalls and opioids. I feel personally that the road that we're going down in current Western medicine is inefficient price-wise, and frequently patients are getting to an end of the road where Western medicine doesn't have anything additional to offer to the patient, and they're sent home to die. We've seen this multiple times, and it's really what got me so passionate about cannabis. I had a friend who had Crohn's disease, and I wanted to help him. I've invented the Magical Butter machine. We've sold it around the world, and by doing that, I've gotten all these anecdotal stories from our customers who have done amazing things. Anecdotally, they've told us that they've cured their cancer and their Crohn's disease and their MS and their fibromyalgia. They've had skin cancer fall off. Now, we're not medical professionals, and we're not claiming to make a medical device. We make a machine that is multi-purpose, but it makes the process of extracting molecules from plants that are lipid-based amazingly simple. I spoke earlier slightly about bioavailability. Cannabinoids are lipid molecules. We're an aqueous body, a water-soluble body. Oil and water don't typically mix that well together, so we do things to enhance the bioavailability of cannabinoids. There's certain formulations that you can do. For example, gummy bears are one thing that increase the bioavailability of cannabinoids. Some of the ingredients of gummy bears help. When you take cannabinoids, one of the things that happens, we ingest it and it goes into our stomach, and our stomach acids start to degrade the molecules. If we have less in our stomach, similar to many medications, we're going to get more into our bloodstream. So the time that you consume cannabis in the day relative to the rest of your diet matters a lot on how your cells are going to respond, because they're going to get more cannabinoids, which is going to create cell activity. And when you start to look at cellular activity, some really neat things happen in petri dishes. We've seen that when cells are fed cannabinoids, many times they attack cells that have anomalies, like cancer or a different disease, inflammation. It's really interesting to watch how cellular activity works. I think that's a pretty good overview of cannabinoids. What I'd like to do at this point is simply do a giveaway. We want you to try to experience what cannabis being a dietary essential is, and we offer giveaways from time to time. Here we go. Type in hashtag eat to treat. We're going to select the winner of a Magical Butter machine, give it away live right now. I appreciate your time. Thank you for following us, watching us, being a part of our journey. We're here to educate you. We're also here to have fun. All right, this is a family. This is what we do. We're compassionate people who care about our customers. When you join the MB family, we're friends. Like, we're working together to help make your life better. We're not going to say we have all the answers. What we're going to say is we have a really big group of people with similar hearts that are all on the same mission, and that's to live longer, be happier, and healthy. That's what Magical Butter is about. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully you gained some education about cannabis. My name's Garyn. I'm a global thought leader on the subject matter. Feel free to ask us questions. Normally, I don't go back and answer a whole lot of them. I know for this subject matter, people have questions. So if you have questions, we're going to try to answer as best we can on here. We're not going to provide medical advice. We're not doctors, but we will in general try to help you. That's what it's about. It's about together we win. Thank you for your time. Let's do a winner.
All right. We got Damon Beck in the house.
Damon, thank you for watching. Congratulations. You won a Magical Butter machine. For everyone else, please go out there, consider buying one. Together we win, guys. Peace out. I'll see you Monday.